It's great to see everyone this morning, and welcome, special welcome to our guests who are here, the friends and family members, colleagues of our retiring senators. We're honoring 8 senators this morning. Senators Onder, Burlison, Schatz, White, Wieland, Schupp, Riddle, and Hegeman. Kind of sounded like roll call, I know, but those are all great people that we're happy to have them had served our state. It's a very distinguished group of people who in total have served the public members of the General Assembly for 108 years. The people of Missouri have benefited from their services. They are Republicans, Democrats, who have worked together to move the state forward in a way they believe was the best. They truly embody the state's motto, to let the welfare of the people be the supreme law. As we move forward and tributes are given and retirees respond, any who are not familiar with their service will have no doubt as to the impact they've made on Missouri to be a better place to live, work, and raise a family. Would everyone in the chamber, as well as our guests in the upper galleries, please rise for the presentation of colors by Honor Guard from the Missouri State Highway Patrol Troop F, followed by the Star-Spangled Banner sung by Miss Madison Crisp with the Missouri State Highway Patrol.
Detail. Forward. March. Left. 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 March out. March. Detail. Halt.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Forward. March. Left. 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 Left.
Please help me show our support to the Honor Guard from Troop F. And how about a round for Madison Crisp? Wonderful job. Madison has been with the Highway Patrol 10 years, and we are thankful for her service to our state. Please be seated, and we will start with our presentations. Our first tribute is to Senator Bob Onder by Senator Eric Burlison.
When I first came to the Missouri Senate, I knew that there was a lot of work to be done. We had important issues to solve, such as abortion, tax burdens, government overspending, initiative petition reform, along with many other subjects. And we understood that it would be difficult, long, and tedious. We would have to spend hours in negotiations on the floor to defend the individual rights of all Missourians and to protect them from big government. This fight would be a difficult fight, but as I entered the Missouri Capitol as a freshman senator, I was optimistic. because we already had a champion for conservative causes, and among those was Senator Bob Onder. Senator Onder's career can be characterized with one word: fighter. Senator Onder spent his career in the Missouri General Assembly as one who stands strongly for Christian principles, conservative values, and individual freedoms for all Missourians. Senator Onder was elected in 2006. I actually met Senator Onder during his campaign and admired his tenacity at that time. And then he ran for the Missouri Senate in 2014, where he served since. Senator Onder served as chairman of the Senate Committee on Health and Pensions, and during his tenure as chairman of this committee, he oversaw some of the strongest pro-life legislation in the entire country, including House Bill 129, which included the trigger law that ultimately ended abortion in Missouri. Because of Senator Onder's vigilance for conservative policies, we have seen some of the strongest conservative policies move through the Missouri General Assembly. Yet, as Senator Onder knows, it is not just about getting solid conservative policies done. The other half of the fight is making sure that bad policies are not allowed to move forward. And as the great President Calvin Coolidge said, it's much more important to kill bad bills than to pass good ones. And as we all know, Senator Onder was good at that. He stood for hours on this floor, alone at times, because he decided that his role in this body would be to defend life and liberty. This includes fighting for liberty-minded policies and killing policies that hinder the liberty of Missourians. While this may not be popular, it is an important path that is less traveled. And I'm thankful that we had someone like Senator Onder to fill that role. One factor that I believe makes a good statesman is the ability to stand and fight against policies even when it is the unpopular thing to do, something like William Wilberforce. Yet, we may forget that often the unpopular action in Jefferson City is the popular action back home. Senator Onder never attempted to appease the political class in this city, but he cares about his constituents mostly back home. We come not to gloat about our titles, committees, or personal accomplishments. We come to serve the people who we have elected us. And I believe that Senator Onder can proudly say that he has accomplished that goal. And ultimately, as a Christian, I know that at some point he'll be able to say to his Creator, he'll be able to hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant." The people of St. Charles County should be proud of their senator, and they're lucky to have had him as a representative for so many years. I appreciate you, even from the other side of the state, and your service to Missouri, and the part that you played in saving countless lives, including the lives of the unborn, in our state most of all. And I will appreciate your friendship forever. Thank you.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but after that tribute, I just had to come up and thank you, Senator Burlison, for those kind remarks, Congressman Burlison. Harry Truman once said, if you want a friend in politics, get a dog. But I have to say, despite that, some of my best friends in the whole world are people who work in this building, who serve our great state here. I just wanted to say a few words of thanks. I want to, first of all, thank my constituents of the 2nd Senatorial District who have given me the honor and privilege of serving them here in this body. I really want to thank my staff, especially my chiefs of staff. Amanda Bell is here with us today. Janae Newstead was here last night, and Tekla Spainhauer is somewhere up in Canada doing something that we don't know. I want to thank all the LAs, the interns who have worked with us these years, sometimes very long nights. I want to thank the Senate staff, both those who work here with us in this chamber and everyone, the doormen, the folks in the engrossing department and all. They work long and many times thankless hours here doing the people's business of the state of Missouri. I'd like most of all, though, to thank my family. Allison couldn't be here with me today, my 6 children. You all know that this job takes a lot of sacrifice for our families. You know, we get the accolades, we get the title, or the blame. We get the title of senator, but they bear a lot of the brunt of our service. So I just, this is the season when we meet a lot of new people running for office, newly elected folks who have won their primary, who are going to be coming down to this building to serve. And I always tell those often young men and women, certainly often younger than me, I just give them a couple of pieces of advice. Look, keep to your principles, especially those informed by your faith in God, and always remember the people who sent you here. Always do what you promised to do when you were elected to this position of trust. So I hope in some small way I've done this over my 10 years of service, and again, I thank you all my colleagues for putting up with me these years, and I wish you Godspeed. Thank you.
Next, we will have a tribute to Senator Eric Burlison, offered by Senator Koenig.
I guess it's legal to use names now. Senator Burlison has been a great friend. We came into the House together in 2008. We served. I was sad that he didn't come with me to the Senate, but he did join me 2 years later, and I'm sad to see him go on to bigger and better things. Senator Burlison has always been one of the great conservatives in the Senate, ranked by all the conservative groups, probably as one of the most conservative members of the Senate. I'm told that at home, he was always considered a nerd. Senator Burlison has the type of character you would always want an elected official to have. He's a great communicator. He's honest. He has integrity. He's hardworking, and his faith is very important to him. He's a defender of liberty, personal property rights, and the Constitution. During his legislative career, he passed many bills related to protecting our Second Amendment rights. In 2016, he passed constitutional carry, stand your ground. In 2021, he passed SEPA. In 2011, when he was in the House, he was the first legislator in the nation to sponsor the Health Care Compact. In 2013, he passed the Good Samaritan Law, and I know he's going to bring these principles to Washington, D.C. to fight for freedom, for personal responsibility, to help control spending. Good luck on that. Lower taxes, and I know he's going to do a great job in Washington, D.C. And I'm proud to call him my friend. Thank you.
I'm back. I just want to say thank you, mostly to the citizens of my community for the honor to be here. Last night as we were at Mill Bottoms, I was reflecting on the fact that I can't count the years, but in 1999, I was an intern for then State Representative Norma Champion, who was in the minority, and got to walk up the hill every morning in the cold to the Capitol. And it's been an honor to serve at every role, From being an intern to being a House member to being a senator, Missouri's a special place. I can't thank my constituents enough for giving me the opportunity to be here. The people that you meet are amongst the most amazing people in the world. The friendships that we create up here, I hope will never end. I want to say thank you to my staff, Steve Helms, who I first knocked on doors for in 2006 when Senator Onder was running for state rep at that time. And he's been an amazing friend as well, along with Matthew Smith. I couldn't be here and couldn't do the job that I do without those guys. But I want to say thank you to my family as well. My wife, Angie, who is an amazing, amazing person, my best friend, and my two daughters, Reese and Aubrey. The sacrifice, what kept me going sometimes and focused here would be a constant reminder of the nights that I was not able to kiss them goodnight. But we know that we're here to do something important. And so I apologize to them for those nights, but I'm proud of what we were able to accomplish up here. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Our next tribute will be to Senator Dave Schatz, offered by Senator Caleb Rowden.
Thank you, Governor. I went home last night and had every intention of writing some remarks down that were a little more serious than the ones that we offered about Dave last night, but I fell asleep, and which tells you how much I think about Dave. I'm just joking. I'll say a few quick things. It really has been an honor to serve with Dave, to get to know Dave, to become friends with Dave. I joke with Dave a lot that besides the potential amount of beer that he occasionally drinks, he and my dad are the spitting image of each other, which is weird and crazy all at the same time. A lot of the same mannerisms, not the thinnest individuals on the planet, but hearts of gold. And to have had the chance to serve in these roles at this time together with a guy like that has really been incredible. You know a lot about a guy or a gal, about a person, just based on the people around them. The type of lives they lead when they're not in front of folks, but also the type of kids they raise. And as you can see here today, literally half of Franklin County is here, pretty much. And they all have the last name Schatz. And I think there's more coming, right? Like, I think you're going to be at 20 soon, so that's crazy. This is a crazy place to work, an interesting place to work, a great place to work, and I've often thought about, I only have 2 years left, and obviously the folks today are on their way out. You think about, how you can really best utilize this finite amount of time you have to make a difference, to make a mark. We don't do the things that we do, as Eric alluded to, and others. We don't work our tails off just to come up here for the title, or at least most of us don't. This means something to us, and you think about the type of person that should be in these roles, whether it's state rep or state senator or any of these other elected positions. And I used to try to judge people, not judge people, but kind of gauge people based on their political affiliations, their positions, their, how they, whatever. And now I've come to the realization, now having been here 10 years and met a lot of great people, that when I meet new people, you just kind of start with this surface understanding of, are they a good person? I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. We're going to agree on stuff. I disagree with Dave on positions all the time. but are they a good person? And I think at the end of the day, the Missouri Senate, the Missouri House, Missouri Legislature, any elected body is better served with more people like Dave Schatz. People who came into a position, came into the legislature fairly unassumingly, was able somehow to butt out the sitting Speaker of the House from running against him in a Senate race. That $500,000 check probably helped a little bit, but all of the things that he's done, the steps he's taken, the mark that he's made, it was never about himself. It was never about his ambition. It was never about, I'm going to do the next thing. And even, I joked with him last night about his unsuccessful run for the United States Senate. But even that, if you think about it, I don't think anybody, including Dave or Shara or anybody else, thought that when he got into that race, he was the favorite. But he did it because there's this underlying urge, and I think it comes from his faith in God, just to serve, to do good things because he's a good person. And so I think we need more of that. And we will miss Dave. We will miss his humor. We will miss his antics. We will miss his always stocked refrigerator. We will miss his turkey and his fish and all of the things that he has blessed us with. But I'm just going to miss him as a friend, and I appreciate his service, and I appreciate what he's done for this state.
Thanks, Caleb. I didn't prepare remarks myself either. I think I went to sleep too, Caleb. I got home Monday night or Tuesday morning about 3 a.m. from shockingly an elk hunt in Montana. So not a lot of sleep, not a lot of time to prepare, but just glad to be here. Started this journey 12 years ago. Didn't want to get emotional, but sorry. I'll pull it together shortly. 12 years ago, none of these grandkids existed. Got 10. One on the way. I've been blessed. Truly blessed. I'm so proud of my kids and my grandkids. Greatest accomplishment anyone could ever have is these children. They're the ones that motivate me to come, to serve. There's a future for them. If you look at them, they're truly the greatest gift a person could have. My wonderful wife, my sister-in-law, my daughter-in-law is here. My other two children, like I said, they're traveling back from Montana. They were unable to be here today, but my family is the most important thing in my life. Outside of that, I've spent more time the last 12 years with the majority of you people, and they got to see me a lot more times, again, as Eric said, missing your kids, missing your family. There's a lot of sacrifice for this job. But we're all better for it. I think the state's better for it, for the service that people bring to this state. I want to thank my staff that came, Karen. I don't know where Karen's at, but Karen started this journey 12 years with me. I'm surprised that we made it this long together. I've tried to fire about once a day. I thank all the chiefs of staff that have worked with me, Dan Kleinsorge, Steele Shippey, Matt Thompson. served us very well. Appreciate that service, and appreciate the people that work in this building and the Senate staff that keep this place running and keep sanity in this chamber. And I appreciate all the late nights and hard work that goes into this, what we call the sausage making in the state of Missouri. But I won't miss this process. I'll miss the people. But as you can see, I'll have plenty to do. I won't be bored. There's a lot of boys here that like to fish. And the girls as well. They like to fish as well. And so I will enjoy that time, and whatever comes next, we'll see. But as you can tell, I'm going to have some fun along the way, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Next, we'll have a tribute to Senator Bill White offered by Senator Jeanie Riddle.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. It is my pleasure to give the tribute to Senator Bill White. Senator White was elected in November of 2018 to serve the citizens of the 32nd Senatorial District covering Newton, Jasper, and Dade counties. Senator White is a faithful man of God who is devoted to his family. He is a husband to Dr. Ellen Nichols. Of 46 years they share together. And in watching these two friends of mine, it is truly heartwarming to me to say that these two are best friends. Something that in today's world is really, really special. The senator is father to son Jesse White and daughters Brandolyn Lessman, Amanda Stinson, and Jera White, along with being grandfather to Timber, Carson, and Rocky. Senator White served in the United States Marine Corps from 1973 to 1976. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Senator White is a true hero. During the Joplin tornado, he literally saved a number of lives. He stepped out of the restaurant he was in to look at the weather. He saw the rain-wrapped tornado headed straight at their building. After announcing to all to take cover now, he ended up having to physically move people to safety while they were still grabbing their plates and trying to eat. They were either in denial or really hungry, I'm not sure which. The restaurant was destroyed, but the guests survived due to the senator's quick thinking and fast, courageous action. Senator White received his BA in history with honors and distinction from the University of Kansas and his MA from the University of Chicago, his JD from Washburn University with Dean's honors and a certification in taxation. He practiced law in Joplin, focusing on children, seniors, and business law. He also served as the attorney for Jasper County Juvenile Office for juvenile neglect, delinquency, and abuse cases. He also worked for Commonwealth Edison as a senior systems analyst developing software for the construction of nuclear power plants. He holds many titles in his community, whether they're with the Boy Scouts, the Chamber of Commerce, the swim team. He is a volunteer, second to none. After such a diverse and successful background, Senator White served in the Missouri House of Representatives for 8 years and currently serves as our assistant floor leader in our caucus. He is our dear Senate colleague. Senator White has been the first in the chamber before we gavel in for session and the last to leave the floor since he came to serve in the Senate. While so many of our colleagues left the floor for a meeting, to grab a bite to eat, or for whatever their reason, Senator White was always here in our chamber, reliable and steadfast in his duties. He has been a man that always looked to the best interest of not only his family and friends, he's generous to a fault and to his constituents, but also to us, your Senate colleagues. I know there are no ladies and no gentlemen in the Senate. However, the senator from Newton County is a gentleman to his very core. If you have not taken the time to truly get to know Senator Bill White, it is your loss. Those of us who know him and call him friend have our lives truly been enriched by his service. His legislative successes are many and varied. He is a wealth of knowledge and common sense and a man of integrity in all he does. It is truly our great loss and genuine sadness that the senator from Newton will not be serving in this chamber next session. Senator, I wish you the very best in your next adventure. Thank you for all your work for us and our caucus. Thank you for being a true friend to so many of us in this room. Thank you for your service to your district and the great state of Missouri, and may God truly bless you and your family on your next adventure. Thank you.
Wow, hard to follow that. I want to say thank you to my family. It has been a long road going through this. 12 years up here, being gone, having to adjust vacations, having to all of a sudden have a special session that you end up going up to and you've got other plans, missing events for your family. You've all done that are senators out there, former representatives. I thank them for all their support and their willingness to allow me to do this. I want to thank my staff. Jeanie Richardson's my legislative assistant. Mike Kelly is my chief of staff. They are, without question, the best in this building, in my opinion, and I think a lot of other people. I couldn't do what I do without them. Mike Kelly does the best constituent services of anyone I have ever known, including myself, far and away when we were in the House. Jeanie keeps me totally on task. Our committee, sometimes I would get like, I know what I'm going to do, okay, but then when I would forget, I'd have to admit that she made me all those little cheat sheets for a reason, because I can forget things. But I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed being in the legislature, not quite as much the last year probably, but we've done a lot of good things together. I want to relay a quick story. When I came up, a bunch of us came up with a big class. Charlie Davis was with me, one of my roommates. We had a condo together, that sort of thing. Had a vote. I was on the Appropriations Committee for a subcommittee, and it was Health and Senior Services. And we sent our budget up. We'd worked really hard. I actually read every single line of every one of those books the first year, because that's what I thought you were supposed to do. Found out I was wrong. But we got something back from the budget chair, who was Ryan Sylvie at the time, and the chairman of the subcommittee immediately calls a vote on that before any of us had a chance to look at it. This was kind of the pre-Nancy Pelosi, pass it and then read it kind of thing. And I was very uncomfortable with that. And I passed. And everybody voted. And they called my name again, and I passed. And they called my name again, and I passed. I mean, they'd already passed. It was a party line vote, Republicans, Democrats. And it's like, okay, I vote yes. Well, I spent that afternoon with my then LA Van Fisher going over what was in that budget. And I will be very honest with you. I didn't sleep for a week. We did things, and we cut $500 million out of the budget that year. We did things to senior services. We did things to foster kids that I would have never, ever agreed to vote for had I known they were in there. And I made myself a promise. I will never do that again. And in my 12 years after that, I've never done it. I go home at night. Every vote I have taken, I would vote again that way. And I sleep well. And that's important. And I've let my constituents know this is how I vote, this is how I'm going to vote. I hope those of you that are here introducing, giving tributes that are still going to be here for other senators, keep that in mind and encourage that in new people coming in. You've got to be true to yourself, which I hope then if you've been truthful to your constituents, you're true to them also. But we have a great responsibility. I've done a lot of stuff, different bills, utility bills and things, but vulnerable people don't have lobbyists. They don't have big dollar lobbyists at all. I'm an adoptive foster parent. I did about 1,000 guardian ad litems. Those kids don't have people up here in the hallway. And yes, maybe people say, oh, you're overly protective, you're too liberal. You guys need to remember that we take care of the people of the state of Missouri. We kind of do that. The people have decided we do that. There are some things that we do, the people that cannot take care of themselves, I think the state has a role in, and I encourage you all to keep that in mind when we're voting, when we're calling things liberal. It isn't liberal to take care of a senior who can't cook meals. It isn't conservative or liberal to not have a foster kid have a summer program like a normal kid might have. So be true to yourself, what you believe, and I think the state of Missouri will be a whole lot better for it. And again, thank you all for being here today, and I didn't plan on talking this long, but I love to talk. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Senator. Our next tribute will be for Senator Paul Wieland, offered by Senator Denny Hoskins.
It's an honor today to give the tribute to Senator Paul Wieland. When Paul was first elected, he was a new first-time parent. Now he is leaving politics as a grandfather to 4, with the youngest due in December. Paul Wieland took on Obamacare and won in federal court. He sued HHS on the grounds that the Affordable Care Act violated his religious liberty. After years of litigation appeals, he eventually won. Some of Senator Wieland's other legislative accomplishments include Senate Bill 861, which created the Advanced Industrial Manufacturing Zones. This allows port authorities in Missouri to become more self-sufficient if they create new jobs. This bill allowed the redevelopment of the old Chrysler site in the St. Louis region and is bringing a $279 million investment in up to 3,300 new jobs. Senator Wieland also had Senate Bill 1043, legislation that tackled predatory towing practices in Missouri. Legislation addressing this issue had been introduced for nearly a decade without getting over the finish line. Senator Wieland also passed Senate Bill 982 to give patients protection from surprise billing for ER visits. This legislation ensures a patient is not caught in a fight between providers and insurance companies. If a patient enters the ER at an in-network hospital, they don't have time to ask each doctor if they are also in-network. This bill removed the patient from this uncertainty and ensured they are not left with large medical bills. Truly, many of these bills not only affect his constituents in a positive way, but affect other Missourians. Senator Wieland's always been a supporter of port development. When Senator Wieland was first elected, port authorities received almost no funding from the state. This past session, he was able to secure $25 million for his local port authority, which will definitely be an asset to Jefferson County, as well as the state of Missouri. He knows that Missouri is uniquely positioned to become a major inland port hub and lead the nation in moving goods from America's heartlands to the rest of the world. But most importantly, Senator Wieland is a man of honor and a man of his word, and his constituents in Jefferson County are lucky to have him as their state senator. I'm proud to call Senator Wieland my friend and know his wisdom, thoughts, and courage will be missed in the Senate. Thank you for your service, Senator Wieland.
Thank you, Governor. I hadn't planned on coming up here, but I thought about a couple things as I was sitting back there listening to my colleagues make comments. And one of the things is, in my entire tenure, I've never stood up here and spoke. Whenever I first started, they said, oh, we're going to teach you DIAS training. And I said, that's okay, I care not to do that, and they left me alone. And then over the years, I've never came up here. Now, I've been up here to take pictures, as we all have. We got thousands of those pictures with groups, and we're standing up here. But I've never actually spoken to those microphones, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to do so. I don't have a lot to say other than I'm very grateful for having the ability or the privilege of serving in this body. Over the years, made a tremendous amount of friends, even people that you fight with at the end of the day. I think you consider them your friends, your colleagues, and you have a relationship with them that transcends this building. And I always like to say, anywhere in the state of Missouri I go, I've got a friend. I also want to especially thank my wife, Terry. Actually, 3 days ago, we celebrated the 31st anniversary of the day we met. So she's been with me a long time, and without her, I would not be here at all. So I want to thank her, I want to thank my staff, and I want to thank the staff of the Senate. They've always gone out of their way to make it comfortable for me to be a senator, to address any concerns that I have, and ultimately to make us all look good. And I really appreciate that, and I think we all need to make sure we keep them in mind because they do a super job. Other than that, thank you all for being here, and I appreciate my time serving with all of you, and that's all I've got. Thanks.
Next, we'll have a tribute to Senator Jill Schupp offered by Senator Doug Beck.
This is fitting before I start. Senator Schupp just gave me a tissue, so hopefully I don't get too emotional here. So it's an honor to give tribute to Senator Jill Schupp. As I read over Senator Schupp's biography and list of accomplishments, it became difficult to just highlight the important parts, as she has accomplished so much for so many. I will begin with a little background for those who may not know her quite as well. First and foremost, Jill is a mother and a grandmother with a lot to be proud of. 2 sons, Alex and his wife Mallory, Brandon and his wife Kaylee, and their daughter Sophie. She and her husband Mark have been married for 36 years, and the strength of their family is an inspiration. Jill's hard work and dedication and devotion to making the world a better place is obvious in all that she does. After teaching in public elementary schools in California and Missouri, Senator Schupp spent 2 decades as a small business executive. She served 6 years on the Ladue School Board, including 2 terms as president beginning in 2000. In 2007, Senator Schupp was elected to the Creve Coeur City Council. From 2009 to 2014, Senator Schupp served as state representative for the 82nd House District, which later became the 88th District after redistricting. In 2014, she was first elected into the Missouri Senate, serving the constituents of District 24. Along with an extensive list of honors, recognitions, and awards, Senator Schupp's legislative accomplishments demonstrate her caring nature and devotion to service. Jill has championed legislation giving aid to those who may be facing their darkest hour, such as the social and emotional learning pilot program in schools, which provides elementary schools the opportunity to teach curriculum on stress management skills and coping mechanisms. Buddy Check 22, which encouraged veterans to reach out to their buddies on the 22nd of each month to support our heroes' mental well-being. The Postpartum Depression Care Act, which encourages doctors to screen new moms and expands coverage for mental health services for low-income mothers who need care. Suicide prevention in schools, and suicide prevention training for mental health professionals. Senator Schupp has sponsored and passed legislation to protect vulnerable Missourians by passing legislation related to crime victims, workplace protections, child care safety standards, health care accountability, and other vital legislation, such as Justice for Survivors Act, the Survivors Bill of Rights, and Victims Economic Security and Safety Act, Whistleblower Protection Act, which protects public employees who choose to speak out against waste, fraud, and abuse from retaliation requiring the information be made public by outlawing non-disclosure. The Prohibit Surprise Billing legislation, which prevents patients in emergency circumstances from paying surprise medical bills for care for an out-of-network doctor at an in-network ER, Maternal Health Care Review Board, Get the Lead Out, EpiPens on school buses, and Nathan's Law, which is strengthened safety and standards at the in-home child care facilities, and the CFR, which brought female senators from across the aisle together to save birth control access for low-income women. And she has fed countless families through her legislation, creating the Farm to Food Bank program, which allows food banks to gather the leftover harvest from Missouri farmers to give healthy food to food insecure people. I was nervous before I came up here today. I don't normally get nervous, but when Jill asked me to do this, Senator Schupp, I felt like what an honor to honor her and her legacy. And as I read through that list of accomplishments, what an amazing thing from our side of the aisle to accomplish all that. And everything that I read today of her accomplishments was about families, was about kids, was about veterans, was about helping Missourians. You know, we say the motto, you know, that welfare is the supreme law, welfare of the people is the supreme law. Jill embodies that. She literally embodies that. When I came in here 2 years ago, like many of the folks I came in with, I feel like I am so lucky that I had Jill to help me out. She's been my mentor, whether she knew it or not. I've asked her. There's not a better example of a person in this state, not a better example that I can think of. A person that, well, I'm going to let you in a little bit on me. So I judge every one of you. I judge everybody as I go through life. And one of the things I do is when I judge you is I look at your defects and your things that you do great, and I try to bring it back to myself. So what I want to say about Jill, and I said this a few weeks ago about her, is Jill, I watch what you say, and I watch your actions. And Jill's actions follow what she says. She truly cares about people. She truly cares about this body. She truly cares about the state of Missouri. I know she can't wait to spend time with Sophie. I know she's told me that many a time. I just couldn't think of a better person to serve with. In a selfish moment, I wish I had 8 years to spend with her. It's only been 2. So with that, I just want to say, Jill, the state of Missouri, and me, thank you.
As many of you heard me before this started, I said I didn't have any remarks to make. Not the first time that's changed, right? So I wanted to thank my dear friend, Senator Beck, and Governor Kehoe, and all of you today. I do have a few things I'd like to say, and I want to start by making sure my husband Mark is down in the audience, and he is taking pictures. Thank you. He has been by my side for the last 36 years, and I couldn't think of anybody better to walk through life with than Mark Schupp. So thank you for still being here by my side. I wanted to get up here and just remind you that I'm the member of certain minorities here in the Missouri Senate. I am a female. There are 11 of us, and as you know, this is more than ever at one time in Missouri's history. So we hope to be growing, but I will tell you these are 10 other remarkable women who I have been so proud to serve alongside. I am a Democrat. That's by choice because I believe in the values and principles put forward by that party, and I will and have and will continue to stand up for those things. I am also in the minority as the only Jewish member of the Missouri Senate. And I hope and I believe that I have been taught well about my role as a human being to do what I can to help repair the world. That's what the Jewish religion teaches us, that we need to make this a better place for everyone. I hope that I have reflected that in the work that I've done, and I hope that I have introduced to some of you, maybe the first Jewish person you ever met, but I hope I've represented people of my faith well. We talk a lot about faith, and we talk a lot about it in Christian terms here. And I just want to make sure that while you are, those of you who are Christian are the majority, you are not the only people, just as we women are not the only people here, and just as we Democrats are certainly not the only people here. It has been a real honor and a pleasure to serve here. I have, in addition to my husband, my dear friend, Senator Doug Beck, who has been my partner in the last couple of years. We've enjoyed working together, both talking, speaking on the floor, but his genius creativity in how to look at things differently and move forward has served us well the last 2 years, and I know will continue going forward. My wonderful and amazing Chief of Staff, Megan Price, is seated over here. I've been so fortunate to have you by my side the last 4 years. I really don't know what I would have done without you, so thank you. I've had some amazing chiefs of staff over the years, not as many as was implied last night by Senator Rizzo, but 3. So, and my legislative assistants. And so I have always had an office where it's been a pleasure to go back there, to talk things through, to work things out, and to take care of those all-important constituents in our district, the 24th District. Adrian, to you and your staff, amazing work. I really have never heard a complaint out of people who have to stay long after the late hours that we put in to get the work done. So congratulations for being a great team leader and for helping all of us get our jobs done well and better. So appreciated. Harrison and John, you mostly make me look good on camera, but I'm actually taller and skinnier than what some of those pictures show. So if you could just work on that. No, I'm actually so grateful for everything you've done for us over the years. And to all of you and your staffs who we've worked with to our doormen. You have opened doors for us in literal and figurative ways, and we are so grateful to you for that. There are so many people here to thank. I am proud to work with Governor Kehoe as he has overseen the Senate in his role as Lieutenant Governor, and Pro Tem Schatz and Floor Leader Rowden. Sometimes I'm not thrilled with you, but I will say overall, you've helped make the Senate, try to make the Senate move forward. If you guys would just try a smaller caucus. Oh, maybe you did. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, I just want to say thanks to all of you. It's been a real honor and a pleasure getting to know you and work with you. And I wish you continued success as you continue the work for the people of the state of Missouri. Thank you so much.
It's my honor and pleasure to be able to speak to the final 2 senators that we'll be honoring today. First, Senator Jeanie Riddle, known as the Senator from the 10th, or the Queen from the Kingdom of Callaway. Jeanie served in the House from 2006 to 2014, and in the Senate 2014 through 22. She is, if you've known her long enough, you have laughed with her, you have cried with her, and quite frankly, you've been yelled at by her. She's a mother and grandmother. She's an educator. She's a coach. She's a person who cares about people. Throughout her time in the legislature, Jeanie has been a leader in pro-life and women's health advocacy. She has been a tireless spokesperson for Second Amendment rights. When Jeanie first came to the Senate and we'd have a caucus, the joke was if somebody came into the upper gallery that had bad intentions, they were hiding behind her, Munslinger, or myself. So she's been a shield as well. She was the leader in working with tons of folks for funding for the new Fulton Mental Hospital. If you had ever been through the old Fulton Hospital, you knew why that was so sorely needed. And many people who sat in these chairs in various parts of the building and on the second floor, in the center of the second floor, said, you're never going to get that money for funding of that Fulton mental health facility. And Jeanie Riddle never gave up. As you know, she can be tenacious. And when everybody told her no, she kept saying, we're going to get a new Fulton Mental Hospital. It was the right thing to do, both for the patients, but more importantly, for the staff that works there. She also worked hard to get a citizen civic test as part of a high school graduation requirement. As simple as that sounds, that's something that Jeanie realized was so sorely needed. First thing she got passed was adding unborn children to the self-defense laws, just a hallmark of what Jeanie Riddle stands for in protecting our youth. Jeanie passed legislation dealing with women's health care relating to mammograms, and she's been a leader in children's safety issues. She passed bills relating to professional registration, really simplifying the process for professionals, getting government out of their way, but still protecting Missourians with the significant protections that they need in those registration processes. And most recently, along with Senator Schupp, I know she's been incredibly proud of helping craft the book that you can too. A women's book that tells the journey of the females who have been in the Missouri Senate. A book that has been distributed to thousands of grade school kids across this state as an inspiration for young ladies, quite frankly, that they can do anything they want to do. And I think I know Jeanie is a perfect example of that. I know how she grew up. I know about her family. And I know her and Senator Schupp, as well as the other ladies in the Senate here, feel very passionate about the impact that book can make and will make to thousands of kids, almost all they'll never meet. So Jeanie, I really appreciate what you've done for that. Most of all, she's been a mentor to me. She always has reminded me of what's important. That faith and family are the drivers that bring us here today. That are the reasons that we sacrifice for our families, that we come onto the Senate floor and previously for her onto the House floor to represent Missourians. She's as solid as a rock as anybody will ever get. Please help me thank Senator Jeanie Riddle.
Those of you who've known me very long know I'm a big crybaby. So I'm going to try not to cry because I already did that at the end of session. I have a lot of thank yous. And Jill and Paul, thanks for stealing my thunder and thanking Senate staff and the doormen and all the people that help us do a good job and make us look good. I want to start by thanking my dad and my older brother who are no longer with me. They are the reason that I actually agreed to run for the General Assembly. And man, what a ride. What an awesome privilege for us to get to do. I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Kehoe. You were really nice last night because I know you have lots of dirt on me that you didn't share. So I lucked out on that one. There's a few people I want to thank that are not here today. I want to thank Ron Richard and his wife Patty. want to thank Jay, Wasson, and Retha, Munzie and Nancy, Doc Brown and Kathy. They were good to me beyond belief. And when I was a single, it's hard being a single. At that time, I was the only single in the Senate, and it messes up the seating charts. When you go to dinner, and they always pulled up a chair and allowed me to sit with them, and very grateful to that. I want to thank Gina Walsh and Kiki Curls. When I first came in the Senate, I was the only female Republican, and they just grabbed hold of me and helped me learn a lot of things. They were sincerely and are amazing women, were my good friends while they were here in the Senate, and still are. In fact, we share the Queen title, and we send hateful Queen cards back and forth to each other on birthdays. One quick thing, Ron Richard was my speaker and my pro tem and my dear friend. When I first went in the House, he called me up to the dais, and I thought, oh great, I'm in trouble, I've done something wrong. He said, I hear you carry a gun. And I said, well, I'm not supposed to have to tell you that, but yes, I do. He said, what do you carry a gun for? And I said, well, I'm not as big as you, and I certainly can't haul you around with me, so the gun seemed like a lighter option. And he was gruff on the outside, but had a heart of gold on the inside. I need to thank my family of choice here, Mary Cottom and Zach Monroe. Holy smokes, have you changed my life for the better. Mary Cottom knows everybody in state government. Everybody loves Mary Cottom, and she has a line of men coming to visit with her, none of which she will share with me. Zach, who was my chief of staff and friend and has become my family, I stand here today because you literally saved my life. Multiple emergency room trips and hospital visits, and I watched you and Brittany fall in love and have babies, and I can't thank the two of you enough for being my family. Okay, stop crying, Jeanie. I want to say thank you to the 11. You are amazing women. I have so enjoyed getting to know you better and work with you. And I know that things, you're going to carry on and do wonderful things together. And just, I'm blessed to get to know you and call you friends. And then those of you who, you know who you are, walk through many life changes with me as I've been in the General Assembly. A lot of challenges and hardships, to say the least, on some. And you lifted me up and carried me along when steps were a little hard some days. Senator Schatz, thank you for calling all the time and checking on me when I was so sick. That was a kindness that I'll never forget. Okay. Driving up to this Capitol, it still gives me just excitement to think that I had the opportunity to work in this amazing building with all of these truly wonderful, bright, talented people. And just remember to be good to each other. We all got elected by our districts. We all deserve respect, whether on the floor we don't really like each other, but we used to go out to dinner a lot. I hope you all do more of that, because it brought us closer together. I've had a number of staff like Jill, and I want to take the time to thank Lindsay Alexander, who's home with two beautiful boys that are about as big as she is, and Matt Choinka, who is my chief of staff now. And Governor Kehoe, to you and Claudia, who came to visit me every time I was in the hospital, which seemed like a lot for a while. Thank you for that. Thank you for your friendship, and all of you. Thank you for your friendship. You've enriched my life more than you'll ever know. God bless you all.
So last but certainly not least, it's my honor to speak about the great senator from the great Northwest, Senator Dan Hegeman. Dan served in the House in the early 90s as a minority. He said he'll never forget that. And then, of course, in the majority here in the Senate from 2014 to 2022. Dan is a businessman, a farmer, a community person, involved in this county, served in county roles as well. His brother Fitz and sister-in-law joined us, and last night I held up this paper plate note that said Dan, and nothing was written under it. And Fritz said, I don't know what that means. And I said, well, quite frankly, Fritz, Dan's not very funny. So there was nothing to write down there. He's an economic conservative. He was the right person at the right place to lead the largest budget our state has ever seen. In fact, his 4 years as Senate Appropriations Chairman, he never had a budget that was amended on the floor. He passed the biggest reform to the Historic Preservation Tax Credit Program, a program that's revitalized communities and historic structures across our state from one corner to the other. He's the first Senate Appropriations Chairman to fully fund the foundation formula, and more importantly to many of us, the transportation funding formula. Dan has worked tirelessly on issues that affect Missourians and honestly create a better economic playing field, including tort reform, election reform, and multiple local government reforms. He's had 24 bills signed into law in his tenure in this building. One that he's the most proud of is the broadband grant program that is now a model legislation for other states to follow. Dan recently also is a recipient of the Geyer Award. As many of you know, the highest award you can get to the Missouri Alumni Association is a proud graduate of the University of Missouri. But most of all, Dan is most proud of being a husband, a dad, a grandpa, and a friend to many. He's somebody who cares, he's a follower of Christ, and he has values that most of us would want to emulate our entire life as a person and a human being. Please help me properly welcome Senator Dan Hegeman.
That would help too. Yeah. God bless you all. And thank you, Governor Keogh, for the kind words. Your friendship has meant so much through the years. You and Ron Richard took me under your wing when I first came down to the Senate. You weren't here in the House. You never had that opportunity. But anyhow, it really helped me out. I am really full of appreciation, love, and thank yous today. And I really appreciate Drew Damp and Herschel in my office. They've helped me through the years. Drew has just been a fantastic chief of staff. Rich Germinder before him was very helpful too, but Drew's really been great in helping all of you get what you wanted into the budget too. And so that was kind of an important thing. Really appreciate talking about appropriations. Really, we couldn't get by without Adam Kainsfeld and the whole appropriation staff. They worked hard, diligently, tirelessly during session. I'm not going to name them all, but they're wonderful folks. Keep them around. They have the institutional memory that will help this body as we term out, that we lose that institutional memory. It will be continued on through the staff. Keep the staff. Jim, you too, and Adrian, you guys, that institutional memory is so important to give us an opportunity to compete with the the lobbyists and the bureaucracy that's out there, that memory continues on. You know, also really appreciate working with Cindy Cadillac through the years, you know, and she's always tried to keep me out of trouble, and sometimes it's worked. And Harrison, God bless you, you always show up and get those photographs for all the great folks that travel from the great northwest part of the state. Yeah, anyhow, it's great to see you. You know, most importantly, I'd like to thank my family, my wife Fran, and our kids and our grandkids. She had to stay home. Our oldest daughter is expecting twins. She's got 2 boys and a girl, and she's expecting twins. And so Fran's, you know, staying home, looking to the future rather than to the past with me. And that is the appropriate call. But I do have the opportunity to have family here with my brother Fritz and sister-in-law, Dr. Jennifer Hegeman. You know, Fritz is not only my brother, but he's also my business partner at Hegeman Farm Incorporated. People ask what I'm going to do when I'm retired. I'm going to help out more on the farm, and he always shakes his head and frowns. So I don't understand any of that. You know, just really appreciative of all the friends I've made through the years, both inside this body and this General Assembly as well as outside the General Assembly. Our constituents from home that come in and advocate passionately for what they want. My Senate colleagues, Paul and I had the opportunity to serve in the 90s in the House. God bless you. You know, and, you know, many of you, you know, Senator Islinger still owes me some mush, but we'll get that done sometime. And you can, if you want to know what mush is, it's a delicacy that we know. And Senator Riddle, you still owe me that tour of the Truman Library sometime, so we got to get that done too. But just so many friends through the years that helpful. You know, I appreciate having an employer that's allowed me the time to be able to come down here and do this, and I really appreciate that. But you know what? I'm most appreciative of the great citizens of the 12th Senatorial District in the great northwest part of the state who have placed their trust and their faith in me to come down and serve them to the best of my ability. It's the 19 years that I've had the chance to serve in the General Assembly. It's been a joy, a pleasure. Truly appreciate it. And for all of you that are going to be here into the future, may the good Lord walk with you. May He hold you in the palm of His hand. And God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Two things in closing. If we could have a round of applause for all of our retiring senators, their family, and their staff. And one thing every senator mentioned in every one of these retirement ceremonies I've been to, the people that you see, both the ladies in the well, the research, the Senate appropriations staff has been mentioned, the doormen, but also the people you don't see, the people on the other side of this wall that are in the basements and cubby holes that make all of us look good and have for years and will continue to. Let's give a great round of applause to the Senate folks who make this place run. That concludes today's ceremony. I would have a reminder that the Pro Tem's portrait unveiling, how big is that portrait? Will be at 11:15 a.m. in the Pershing Gallery. Thank you all for coming today. God bless you.